Good afternoon. I'm Tony Sawyer, and this is Impromptu. And I am the only one here today. It's just me and, of course, baby girl over here on the side. And that's good. We can have us a heart to heart talk. And I'm just waiting for some of you guys to come in. But I wanted to talk about some things something that I experienced, and I've experienced it more than once uh, while watching the show America's Got Talent. It seems to be that. Good afternoon, Tony. I was watching today. It's just me, Tony, just me by myself, Tony and Tony. Hello, Connie. I'm glad you're here with me. I'm the only one talking today. Pastor Norman is out of town, and my husband is indisposed, and so it's gonna just be me. But that's okay because we can have a good heart-to-heart talk. And I was just sitting here thinking about what I wanted to talk about. I was watching America's Got Talent the other night, and this has happened to me more than one time when I've seen someone on there who had some real tragic thing to happen to them, and yet they were just full of life, full of joy. And so it made me start to reflect about how we think, especially, I want to say, for those of us who are on our spiritual journey, we tend to think that we should have, if we are enlightened or awakened, we tend to think that everything should be under our control and we should not have to go through certain things. But there was this young lady, and last year there was another, well, a year before, there was another young lady who had been tragically burned, and she got up there and she sang. For those of you who just came in, I'm talking about America's Got Talent and how I saw this young lady who was on there the other night, who is now in the midst of fighting cancer. But you never would have known it by just looking at her. Have you ever seen someone who absolutely loved life, no matter what was going on? And that spoke to me because I realized that this wanting to always have control, this wanting to always have everything just perfect, is an illusion. There is no way that can happen. So tragedy and crisis have the potential to bring out of us the strength of our human spirit, or the weakness of our human ego. So life is filled with so many crossroads, places where you must make choices, places where your life comes to a standstill and there's something facing you that you cannot get past. You must face it. So a crossroad is that causes you to have an intersection of life direction. So it'll cause your life to go in another direction than what you had anticipated. So it's like finding that place of absolute joy without having everything going perfect is the journey. That is the journey. But I wanted to talk to you about how to get through the crisis. The crisis itself will either lead you to an expanded awareness or a seeing of life differently, or it'll lead you into depression and anger and bitterness. And I've watched a lot of people. It's when you see someone who's going through, say, a fatal illness, for example, some people get angry, while some people become very, very mellow and very appreciative. The majority of people that I've seen take either of those two paths. They either get angry and hard to deal with, or they become mellowed out, or they mellow out. So it's like the tragedy or the crisis itself, it exposes something in you. But in our circles of Christianity and church circles where we believe that we have the victory, where we believe we have the authority, we try to speak to something, we pray about it, we pray against it, we have everybody else praying against it. And that's the normal mode that we take in order to try to remove it actually. But the crisis is the death of the person that you always believed you were. It's like that one that is given the diagnosis, or that one that loses everything, or that one that goes through the hardship, that one dies. And the crisis brings about that death blow to that one, that identity, I should say. So it's the death of one identity, and then it's the birth of another identity. The identity of is the birth of a person that you never dreamed you could be. That's what I want to say. This young lady that was on there Monday night, I think it was Monday night, on America's Got Talent, was right in the midst of battling cancer and only had a 2% chance of survival. 2%. 2% chance of survival. And when you look at her, you would never have known. When I see that, I am so inspired. And I know you are too, but I am so inspired when I see a person who have found the secret to how to love life and how to go through this life without being overcome by it. So the triumph is not you don't get the triumph or the victory by removing the problem. And that's been the misconception, that if we have the victory, we would be able to remove the problem. But the problem, in some cases, based on your sacred contract, the problem won't always go away with your efforts to remove it. Connie, you said, I want to read what Connie said here. That's how I've been able to deal with my stroke and the limitations following having it. I count it all joy. Yes. And you know, Connie, I think you've probably gotten past counting it all joy. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but at some point in the midst of the crisis, when you realize it's not going away, there's a metamorphosis that starts to take place. You begin to readjust and regroup. And I think that in that regrouping of redefining how your life is going to be is how you actually get through it. So to overcome it is to transcend the effect that it has on you. And I don't know if that makes sense, but real victory is when you come to the place that whatever you're going through has no effect on you. It's not removing it, getting rid of it. But when you see a person who's actually in it, and it has no influence on them, no effect on them at all. And that doesn't come by you just deciding this is the way I'm going to be. I'm sure that you kind of had to go through a lot of internal adjustments in order to come to that place where you've resigned yourself to the fact that this is what is, and learn to not embrace the problem, but to embrace life with that problem. So I'm finding that our problems don't have to go away for us to be happy. That's the key right there. Our problems do not have to go away for us to be happy. And then that young lady said something on America's Got Talent. She said, "Why wait until life gets easier before you decide to be happy. And that, I said, man, that would preach. That would preach. Why wait till life gets easier before you decide to be happy? So you win not when the crisis is removed, but when you've confronted all of the fear, whatever that fear is, if fear of dying, fear of losing, fear of being ostracized, fear of rejection, whatever that fear is, when you confronted it, you confronted the anger that you have because I'm going through this. Why me? Why am I going through this? I know years ago when, and most of you heard me talk about it, I have this skin condition, my body does, called vitiligo, where my brown complexion started to get all these white spots. And so the first question that came through me was, why me? Why am I going through this? And then I start searching, okay, and is God angry with me? Am I cursed? Somebody put a curse on me, which I no longer believe in. And I no longer believe that God is angry with me either. I no longer believe that God ever gets angry with us enough to punish us, because everything that God does is to correct us, not to punish us. And I like what you said, Marie. Thank you for putting that up. You said you win when you let go and realize that God is with you going through it. Exactly. Now, I don't know if the young lady that I saw on America's Got Talent even knows anything about God. She didn't mention it. But I do know this. I saw pure presence when I looked at her. I see pure presence in the eyes and the face of people who have accepted life and realize that this whole thing about having control is an illusion. And they're different. They're very different and they're very authentic. And I'm sure that this young lady probably never saw herself standing on the stage doing what she was doing and at the same time dying. Dying and living at the same time. That got me. So you win not when the crisis is removed, but when you faced every fear, all the anger, all the hopelessness, and you dare to go on living as though it's never happened. Now that, my friends, is a victory. That is a victory. I like what Connie said. She says, I've learned to love and live with my altered life. Yeah. And it is, and you know what, Connie? I don't even know if it's an altered life. I think it's the actual life we're supposed to be living. But some of us have missed it. We missed the point. We think that everything has to go according to what our desires are. We feel like, we should never have any hard times. And if we do, we should be able to go through them smooth sailing. Everything's supposed to be peaches and cream, hunky-dory. And that's just not the case. So when a person is going through a crisis, and I know with myself, with this skin condition, a metamorphosis begins to take place. Something begins to change as you begin to realize that the problem is not going away. And I remember Jesus praying in the Garden of Gethsemane. He said, Father, if it's possible, let this cup pass from me. But it didn't go away. So there's some problems you can't pray away. You can't confess away. You can't visualize and affirm away. You must just transcend them. You can't get rid of it. If it's in your sacred contract that this is your objective, God's objective will for you, not subjective. Subjectives mean, and I think I mentioned this to Pastor Norman. Hey, Pastor Norman. And the subjective will of God is that will where it's possible, subject to change. There's subject is subject to change. But then that objective will in your sacred contract is when it is not going to go away because it is designed and it has a purpose for being there. And that purpose is to change who you believe you are into the person you never dreamed you could be. And I hope that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Hey, Lori, I'm glad you're here, sweetheart. So, first of all, the crisis, instead of seeking to remove a problem, you need to first look at it to transcend it, to transcend that problem. Now, I have to admit, it's normal for there to be periods of sadness. There was times when I first, not when I first got diagnosed with vitiligo, but years later when the spots just were rampant. They were everywhere in my face and everywhere else. And now, even now, the brown spots are trying to come back. So I'm going through the same metamorphosis again. But it's normal to have those periods of sadness or panic, even during a crisis. It doesn't remove those things. I'm pretty sure that everyone who has faced anything that possibly is fatal or is damaging or threatening, there is a level of panic that comes with that during the crisis because an old identity is passing away. And even though we say we don't like this life, we hold on to it with a passion. We hold on to it, and we hold on to it like a cat. We hold on to it like a cat. And by the way, I got to tell you this funny story. It's not a story, but it's funny. Anyway, it's funny. Everybody's getting these tattoos now, and I had this vision of a woman who got a tiger's paw tattooed on her breast. And she was 20 when she got the tattoo, but when she got 80 years old, the tiger was trying to hold on. You could see him holding on. He's just trying to hold on. Anyway, so the periods of sadness, the dark night of the soul, that comes when there's a major problem. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a major problem because it could just be something really minor, but to the other person, to another person, it could be something that really, really affects them. Some people even pray for death when they go through that dark place. To get out of the problem, to be released from the pain and the suffering psychologically or physically. They pray for release, to be released from it by dying even. But then it still doesn't go away. So if a problem or crisis won't go away, that means we've got to do something with it. And this is the turning point, or I should say the tipping point. The tipping point, the place where the road in your life divides. It divides it's a crossroad, the intersection of your life direction, where you must make a choice how you're going to live the rest of your life. I feel that because many of us don't respect the crossroads. Will you go on living as though this tragedy or crisis never happened, or will you succumb to it with grief and bitterness? And so the choice is yours to make. It's yours to make, and the path is yours to take. So when the crisis comes up, regardless of whether it's a big crisis or a minor one, it doesn't matter. Our thoughts should not go first to why me. Our thoughts should go to what is this here for? And when I go through all of my rituals of trying to think positive, of trying to pray it away, trying to change God's mind about it, which is ridiculous because God requires nothing. He wants nothing but healing for us. So if it doesn't go away, that means there's healing in it, but it's a deeper healing than just a physical healing. There is a healing in it, a deliverance in it. And so when you can't get rid of it, you must then choose to live. You must choose to live, not simply exist. And from the depths of your being, down in the very core of your being, all that is needed to live with the problem then emerges. It comes up. It's like, yeah, I can do this. I had to, with this skin condition, I had to decide, okay, am I going to be afraid of what people see? Am I going to hide myself? And then I asked myself the question, okay, I can't go and get in the sun, and I used to love getting in the sun, and I still do, even though it's probably not good for me. Will I have to live without being out in the sun for the rest of my life? Okay, so here I am. I've got to redefine how I'm going to live the rest of my life. So from the depths of your being has to emerge the courage, the determination, the endurance, the stamina, all of that, the persistence to just get through it and to get on the other side of this choice that you have to make of who I'm going to be for the rest of my life. And then a new you emerges. It emerges up out of you, one that is empowered to face life's uncertainties and injustices, one that knows who they are and is more confident, more humble, more understanding, more hopeful, more fearless, one that has learned to cherish every moment and to not take this life for granted. And I think that is major, to not take this life for granted. Here comes my husband. You're coming in here. Let me slide over. I'm about done here, Mr. Sawyer. Mm-hmm. I'm almost done.
Really?
Yeah. Come on in. Have a seat.
Hello out there.
All righty. So the one that's born out of that crisis has come to love and respect the crossroads or the intersection, the times in their lives when they have to redefine how they're going to live their lives and who they're going to be as they live their life. And so you begin to respect that, and you become a true untouchable. And that at that point, I'm going to move this so you can see.
I have to get my glasses.
See, you just got here.
I know it.
All right. Now go ahead.
Right
go
back.
ahead. Okay. He's just interrupting me. I want to read something to you. And this is from a book. I saw a gentleman on YouTube. His name is David Rico, who is he's a psychologist, I think. I'm not sure if he is or not, but he has studied Carl Jung. And so this book is called The Power of Confidence. I haven't read it yet, but I just started reading the introduction today, and this was really, really good. He said this: The human organism comes equipped with self-healing powers. Now that right there is a big one. We have 3 reliable and highly skilled healers, 3 graces within ourselves. The first is an inner physician, the grace of the body that rushes to the scene of an accident. When we cut a finger and it brings platelets to stop the bleeding and white cells to prevent infection. We can cooperate in this process by washing and covering the cut and the skills we learned from our first aid manual. So that healing is there in the body. We've all experienced that. And so there's an inner physician that rushes inside our bodies, that rushes to repair itself. And then he said, we also embody an inner psychologist, the grace of the psyche, who knows just how to help us with our emotional injuries. When a shocking loss occurs, it brings tears of mourning to the site of the wound. We can join in by actively engaging in grief work. We can trust our inner psychologist to have a handy program perfectly calibrated for every crisis that may come along. To make that program more effective and expeditious, we have to work along with it. But there's that inner psychologist. He calls it the grace of the psyche. The first was the grace of the body. Now he's saying, we are aware of the metaphor of a guardian angel. This is our inner priest, our spiritual guide, the grace of the soul, who knows the full itinerary of our journey through life and can offer the provisions it requires. That's good. It brings synchronicity, dreams, intuitions, bursts of imagination, spontaneous creativity, sudden awakenings, and other spiritual gifts. We participate by faithful attention and then by acting in accord with the callings of our destiny. I thought that, man, that's good. So there's 3 healers, 3 graces of healing already inside of us,
And when I read that this morning, we were sitting at the table, I knew then that it was not a natural thing. We call it natural. But if you look at it through the eyes of your infinite identity, that's God.
Yes, yes.
This ability, even the potential to grow hair or to continue to see, the sight. I mean, when you listen to your true self, when you read that or think about it, it's beyond what we've heard in church.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's much more simple in the sense of realistic. I said, wait a minute, that's God. We don't. That's no such thing as me naturally healing myself or healing this body. It has to be something that, I mean, just to keep this thing going like this.
Yeah. So we've been graced with that. That's the beautiful part of it, is that we have been, that it's, you've said it like this, the download is already taken place.
Yeah.
That we have come here with all this downloaded inside of us, not realizing that it's here.
Yeah.
And I was talking to him about the young lady that I saw on America's Got Talent, who had only a 2% chance of survival with cancer, and she had obviously been through chemo because she was just growing her hair back. It was pretty, but it was very thin, and she was very tiny, but very powerful in her presence. Not so much powerful in the sense of being positive and all of that, but just authentic, just real, just real, and had learned, like I said, the secret to loving life in spite of. And there's so many like that. There's another one called Gabrielle, I can't remember her last name, who fought cancer I said 80% of her life was fighting cancer, because she had this rare cancer where it would come back every time they got rid of it. It would come back in another way. So she ended up dying with it, but she would run marathons after she had chemo. I mean, the strength of the human spirit, the strength of our spirit, the strength of that we are, is just amazing. Like you said, it's immaculate.
It is immaculate.
It's immaculate.
and to really understand what we're saying, another way of saying it, it is so unveiling.
Yeah.
Revealing the unveiling of, or the cloaking device is now found out, and can't anything else be hid from us, in the sense of saying out of ignorance, ignoring that God is all of these functions
in us
as
us. Yes. And how can we miss it? I don't know how we miss it. Like you said today, how could we miss that and think that we don't have the goods on the inside of us?
This that we're speaking of is the actual, it is the real us.
Yes, and we got so much evidence by seeing people who actually transcended all of the issues they've had in their lives. They've transcended them and come out on the other side. They didn't make the problems go away before they transcended it.
That's right.
I like what Marie says here. She says, we're graced with the healer on the inside, even in going through in our body. We rest in him. Yes, that's true. That's true, Marie.
And the medication that is used is the investigation of study and research into God's healing power. In medication, it is the presence of God yielded to a pill or a wow. Hearing this head mouth say this.
You know, that tells me this, that not only downloaded in us is the healing, but it's downloaded in every substance that's in this physical earth. Downloaded and at our fingertips to be accessed for use.
It sounds like something is being cleared up. We're clearing up all the static on the line. What we thought was hung on the line as rags has now become a king's cloak or a king's function or a king's unction that has been on us as the complete the actual. I ran across something last night. The robe that Jesus wore is the physical side of him that's made out of him. Wow, they're coming again. There we go. I saw
the substance that he is.
The robe that I saw him in when he appeared to me
was seamless.
Yes,
it was.
And I look at it, I say, how one piece? The sleeve, the arm, the length of it, the actual robe itself was made out of him.
Yes, and I just told him just the other day, I read where the priests in the Old Testament, they had at least 3 different layers on. The one layer, I think it was called the ephod or epoch, I can't remember the exact name, but it was the undergarment, and that's what we saw Jesus wearing when we saw him. He was wearing his undergarment, which was really fine linen, and it had absolutely no seams. And that's what the high priest wore under his garb.
We are beyond Hollywood.
I know.
Or I would say Hollywood, we are beyond the hollering in the woods. The screaming and the hollering. I mean, make me a body Prepare me a body when I get down there. This is what I've read in the scriptures about a body which was prepared for him.
Yeah.
This body was prepared for us.
Yes. Yes.
In the womb. Yes. Come on, let's go for it. Come on, let's go for it.
And it goes back to this life.
Yeah.
I should say not life in the sense of, because we are life, but this existence was all planned out.
Yes.
It was all planned out. And I enjoy seeing those who transcend and overcome the hardships of this life, not so much by making them go away, like I said before, but by not coming under the effects of it. And you know how people say, I'm under the weather. Well,
yes,
you know, the weather can be what it is without you being under it. That's what I'm saying. Life's experiences can be what they are without you being under them.
It sounds like me putting on God, but the me that put God on was him in disguise as Clark Kent.
Oh, you know, I'm glad you said that, because just yesterday I realized that when we have thoughts, whether they be good or bad thoughts, we are wearing those thoughts. So to put on the Lord Jesus is to put on certain thoughts and to wear them.
I see something, a word on your notes. You said, what does that say right there?
Trajectory paths.
We are the trajectory or the projection of God's. We are the path of God, and the path of God is us. We're not trying to be modest or steal, or like the book say, he thought it not robbery to make himself equal.
Yeah.
Come on, you got to go for it. You got to go for the gusto.
Yeah. Now, the reason I put trajectory paths on my notes there is because we have this misconception that when we come into this earth existence, we have one clear path or one purpose for being here. But every crisis and every problem gives us options. It gives us options to go different directions. And so we all have what I call trajectory paths. In other words, I can choose to go, let's say I can choose to marry this person over here, and my life will go totally different than if I chose to marry that person over there. So that's what a trajectory path is. My life will go totally different if I decide I'm going to live in this particular city than it would in that city. My life takes on a whole different flavor, a whole different life, a whole different set of life experiences happens to me based on my choices with those trajectory paths.
I'm reminded today I went to take my Jeep to a repair shop to check a wiring system in it. And when I was there was a lady came in and she had her dog with her. And when I saw the dog, he was just a gentle, kind, and she was talking about what the dog is and his ability. And I said, well, they do talk. They do communicate.
They do.
And I told her, I said, when I get ready to talk to my dog, people say don't look him in the eye. You know,
some you can, some you cannot.
But I look my dog in the eye and I tell her, I see you. I see the life that's inside of her. But my point is that I told her about the incident that we had of a dog giving us by
his last rites.
Telepathic communication by sound and vibration. He barked one time.
I told him not to tell anybody about this.
That's
just, they're gonna think we're nuts.
I told the lady at the car place that this dog communicated his last request to us.
Yeah, he did.
And she said it was something she said it made it look more natural in the sense that it wasn't God or wasn't our secret abilities, you call the spirit. But I was explaining to her that I understood how in the scriptures, how Noah communicated with animals.
So at that moment, we must have become the dog whisperers.
Evidently, we were. And see, this particular, another thing I want to mention to you guys out there in 1 Corinthians 12, it talks about the gifts of the Spirit. When you break this thing down, you're going to find out in your enlightened moment, when you wake up to your true identity, these are natural, normal, potential abilities. They are resident. They come with the package. Yes. We've always said, oh, this person got this gift. I'm going to see this evangelist. He got this gift of healing, gift of miracles and prophetic areas and all that. Everybody, potential-wise on this earth, carry and is mated with these potential ability. They are trajectories. That we bring with us.
That's right.
Entering into this body, this physical world.
Yes.
Now this thing is, and it's almost like when I say this to you guys out there, it's like I can hear my inner self say, they function better when you understand who they are, what they are. I had a chance to see all the gifts of the Spirit as spirit beings standing side by side. The word of knowledge, the gifts of healing and miracles, they were like angels. They were like light beings. Listen, you might as well break this thing down and come on out of your Sunday school, what you call your Sunday school manual, and go on head on and accept the fact. And it's like I hear him saying, once you accept your full potential ability in your spirit identity, without fasting, praying, seeking, and knocking and asking, go ahead and accept it. He said, you will begin to experience them. I know a lot of people that study the Course in Miracles, they may not talk about these potentials, and they put it in a capsule that say, well, I don't need these gifts because I know who I am. I have the allness of God inside of me. Well, then
you're speaking general.
I'm speaking general. Yeah, really not everybody. No, not everybody. But what I'm bringing out now is the unfolding of your resurrected self.
Yeah.
Identifying with the God potential is like somebody saying, "Oh, I'm so glad you finally accepted this potential. Now we can move on.
Yeah.
We can move on and we can function." To get outside, to go in your car, to sit down and turn the key, and the little tiny key causes thousands of horsepower or energy. Just that ability encased in metal, steel. That's a God potential.
That's the power of a key.
Thank you.
And that's what I meant when I said these people that we see that have come to the place, they found the secret, the key to enjoy in life. And without everything being perfect. And I think all of us can look at them and they become our example. They become a beacon to us. They also they will be remembered for their courage.
Thank you.
Their courage to look at life through the eyes of God.
I see you guys, some of them saying, hello, Pastor, hello, Sawyer, hello, Reverend. and do you know you're actually saying this online? I can sense the God self, the infinite self, through your words, through my ears. I can feel your hello, good to have you with us. I can feel that part of you. Oh, wow. It's like my ears, my eyes, my feeling and everything is, I can hear God speaking out of your hello. How you doing, Reverend? Good morning, good evening. Please make it easy. Or there's a song that said, make it easy on yourself. That's the old song. Yeah, make it easy on yourself. Let's jump in this thing in full consciousness awareness. The fullness. Let's jump in jump into the fullness of God.
So I want to say to you guys, and we're going to sign off a little early, but I wanted to say to you guys, don't be afraid of life.
That's right.
Don't be afraid of life. And don't be afraid when things are presented to you, brought to your experience that don't feel so pleasant. This is all necessary for your expansion. It's necessary for your expansion. It's necessary for your well-being. It's necessary for you to find the authentic self that you are. All of it is valuable. Everything in this life is valuable.
This pathless path will be so much more amplified when we clear up the static on the line.
Right.
About our true identity.
Yes. Yes.
This is with or without the sanction or agreement of those who seem to be somewhat on another level. No. When you fully accept the fact that you are an infinite, eternal self, a being, and remove from your head the false idea that God is at a distance from you just because of your physical body, you're getting ready to see the miraculous. You're getting ready to walk in a state that is called real estate.
You know what I've noticed about the people like this young lady that was on America's Got Talent is that when they come to that place where they have transcended, it's almost like the body thins out. It's like the physical apparatus thins out to where you see more spirit than you do physicality. You see more spirit standing in front of you, talking to you, moving and animating than you do the body itself. It becomes apparent that what is in that body is now coming to the forefront and it's overtaking that body.
I was talking to a lady on the phone and wasn't expecting this to happen. I had a revelatory insight vision of Jesus in her house sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And when he appeared to this person, he said, let's commune together. And I saw Jesus. Now, y'all, it just plain as day. I just say it like it is. I saw him take a piece of bread, loaf of bread, just like you buy at the grocery store, and take one piece out of it. And I saw him in the vision breaking off pieces of a piece of loaf of bread and handed it to her and said, let's commune together.
Okay. Let's
enter into this digestion of oneness with God. Wow. And we when we put the bread in our mouth, it dissolves itself, assimilates itself, and enter into our digestive system. God is your Holy Spirit self-digestive system. And he is assimilated as we are in him. He assimilates us and we assimilate him. I'm sorry, you are no longer alone and by yourself. Don't care how you feel.
That's true.
He said, if you visit the sick, they are him. If you feed me, you're feeding him.
True.
If you help me, you're helping him. Lord have mercy, Jesus. I did say that.
If you help yourself,
yeah, I did.
If you help yourself, you're helping him. That's where the rubber meets the road. Because as you help yourself, you're helping him.
The one that is listening and moving and have his existence and being in your everyday activity is him.
Yes.
That's him. You might think for a second that just because you don't have a special anointing on you or a special feeling of presence that maybe, oh, I got God. No. You don't have God. And you are his identity.
Yes.
And he's yours.
Yes.
You are, it is. you're each other's gift.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, folks, it's been good. And I am going to sign off here. This is Pastor Clifton and Tony Sawyer. And we're
live and in color.
We want you to like and share this on your screens there. And subscribe if you're on YouTube. Subscribe if you haven't done that already.
Please do.
And we're up to what, 220 subscribers, which is good. So we want some more. We want some more, you guys. But I hope you enjoyed this today. I hope you got something out of it. And what is it?
You are the undifficult.
You still teaching?
You are the undifficult. You are the undifficult moving of God in the present moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
You move all difficulties of God out of the way, just existing in these bodies. All
right, you guys, we are going to take off before he starts another subject. We love you, and we'll see you again on Sunday at 10. We love you and glad you guys checked in on us.
Yes,
thank you, Marie. Thank you, Lady Gwen and Norman and
yes.
Lori, I'm glad you were here, sweetheart. Keisha, Sylvia, hey, Sylvia.
Yeah, it's good to have you with us again.
I'm glad you were here, sweetheart. I'm glad you were here.
Stand back. That's good.
Connie and Marie and all you guys who were with us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I had a good time just talking about myself. Pretty good.
Yeah, I was trying to get here. I just couldn't get here in time enough, but
I held it down.
Yeah.
I held it down.
You hold it down. Got it. She tied it down on both sides of the road and hold it in the middle, and it was working too.
See you guys later. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.